There we go. Flush.
That's what I wanted. Oh no. Danny, I just did it. I just did it. Damn it. Oh no. I get you to do a pose here, like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
What are you more nervous for? This golf lesson or for when you're about to step out on stage and do Beat It?
You know what? I would probably have to say Beat It, man. Every time that Michael Jackson's such a huge iconic figure, right? And so I want to be able to live up to his expectations, his choreography, his music. And people like yourself know Michael Jackson's music, know how he looks, how he dances. And so the pressure's on when I step out of that door, you know?
So just as you're warming up, just for context for the viewers,
Yeah.
what's with your background in golf? How did you get into it? It's not been long, has it?
No, since September of last year, so what's math? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 10 months.
Wow.
Picked up my first club at a driving range, and I hit one good ball. Just one out of the hour that I was here. Out of the hour that I was at the driving range, and I was like, oh, I like that. That's really good. And so I got into it, and I just kept it up. Got a couple lessons, got a bag, some clubs, and I was like, oh, this is something that I should do. I love this.
So this is why you was touring Australia?
Yeah.
Where was this? Was this Melbourne, Sydney?
This was in Melbourne.
This is Melbourne?
Yeah, so in Sydney, I wasn't really into it because I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
But in Melbourne, I knew that I'd have time to get into it really. And so first time going to the driving range, I went with a couple of my castmates, my crew members.
Are they into golf and they sort of got you down there?
Yeah. Like handicap is low. I said, oh, okay, that's great.
10 months in and he's got the bug.
I got the bug, and you know, it's taking all of my savings. Golf is taking all of my savings, and I love it. I love it. It's such a beautiful sport, man, and it's because I'm inside all day, right? In a theater all day, every day, 6 days a week. Like, it's something about golf to get me outside, to get me in the grass, you know what I mean? To experience nature again, because being in the building could be hard sometimes, all day, every day, you know?
Yeah. We're definitely going to get to the golf, and just for context as well, guys, Ilario came in to see me just randomly four weeks ago here in the studio, and it was such a cool experience, just such a humble guy, and just chatting with him, say he'd only been playing for 10 months, and then seeing this swing as you can see now, it's pretty impressive. And so first lesson we worked just a lot on driver, great changes there with the driver, and so today, Ilario, what would you love to get out of today's lesson? We look at that, guys. It's 10 months.
I really want to be able to. Ball striking, I think, is important. And you can tell me differently. I think right now in my journey, I think I want to be able to strike the ball consistently and shape it, right? Because the pin is not always in the center of the green. And so, you know, I think that if I'm hitting a shot just straight, right, I can still hit it on the green if it's a par 3, but I'll still be 20 meters away from the pin, you know? And that could be a 2-putt, 3-putt, which will put me at a bogey. So I kind of want to be able to shape my shots in a way that's going to benefit me to have fewer strokes. And also consistent ball striking. Because if I can get consistent on the ball striking, then I think everything else will come easier.
Yeah. Brilliant. So again, just while you're hitting a few 7-irons, Ilario, a couple of questions I'd love to ask. Just from a personal note. Like how old? I mean, I know this I asked you last time, but you know, for the viewers, how old were you when you got into dancing, and what was it that got you into it, and when was it that you knew that this was, you know, like your thing? And,
So I started singing first when I was 4 years old. Dancing came a lot later in my career, so singing is the only thing that I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wanted to do this. Funny enough, during the show, there's a line where I go, when did I fall in love with singing? About first grade is in the show. First grade for Ilario also is when I knew that I wanted to be a performer. It's crazy how that correlation to me and Michael Jackson happened.
Yeah. Wow. And
'Cause
how old's first grade in the US? How old's that?
6.
6, yeah.
6 years
yeah.
old. And so I'm 6 years old and I'm doing a talent show. Literally, this is so crazy, the parallel. I'm doing a talent show with my twin brother, because I have a twin brother. And so we win the talent show and I go, oh, I could do this for real.
Yeah, wow.
This could be a career for me. And so I just took it very seriously. I told my mom this is what I wanted to do. And she invested in me. And, you know, years later, I'm playing Michael Jackson.
Wow.
This is crazy.
Wow. And how did you get into the Michael Jackson role? Like the auditions, I'd imagine, would have been pretty full on. And like,
It was after I did a film. So I did a film first called Praise This, Universal Pictures with Will Packer Productions. And I went and saw the show first because it opened in New York on Broadway. And after seeing the show, seeing Miles and the original cast, I was like, oh, I think I want to be in this show. But at the time, there were no auditions. Yeah. There was nothing to help me get into the show. So I kind of went away for a little bit and then submitted an open, what we call in theater is an open call. So it's amongst hundreds of people, thousands even sometimes, of people who submit the same material. And then they choose and pick who they want. And I was chosen to come back, to go to New York, to audition again in person, in front of the producers, in front of the casting directors. And then a couple days later, they booked me for the role.
Wow.
Which is crazy,
Wow. So how long from actually getting the part to traveling over here to Australia, how long was that?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, okay.
About a year and a half.
So it was well in advance then.
A year and a half in New York. And then after that, I get a call from my agent. And my agent goes, hey, so they want you to go to Australia. And I said, where is Australia? I said, where is that at? I don't know where that is. He said, well, it's across the world. And I was like, oh, wow. But I was looking for some change, Danny. I was looking for something that'll spark my creativity again. And I knew this opportunity would do that. And so I said yes and then took over the role, and it's been history ever since, man. It's crazy.
You just finished 2 days ago.
Yes.
Wow.
2 days ago, Sunday.
So you're doing well to have the energy to come in for a golf lesson today before you fly home.
Oh, I love golf, man. Low.
So in terms of your golf, I mean, obviously when we last called up, you'd had a few lessons around Australia, clearly some great coaching. You move really, really well.
Thank you.
But at the moment, what are you trying to do in your golf swing? What are you trying to think about? Do you have anything that you're trying to do at this point?
What I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about a lot of things, man. But right now, my focus when I'm swinging is to make good contact.
Yeah.
Every time. And so I feel like I have this idea of this backswing situation, being able to keep my eye on the ball all the way through, kind of shift my hips the way that we talked about, a little lag in the shaft, and then turning it over as I come through so that way it doesn't go to the right.
Where do your shots normally go with your irons? Where are your bad shots and misses?
Bad shots? Yeah, they shank hard. Because I feel like when I do come through, I keep it, that lag is like super laggy before I turn it over. So I'm just trying to figure out at what point with the irons am I coming through to bring it, to turn my hands over.
Yes, yes. So the skill of controlling your club face and therefore the direction.
Yes.
So they're the three big key skills I always talk about in golf. You've got key skill number one is strike, so where you're hitting it on the club face.
Yep.
Obviously a crucial skill. But number one skill is trying to hit it in the center of the face.
Yep.
The second skill is trying to hit the ground in the right spot. So that's obviously divot, no divot, where's your low point. And then the third skill is what we're speaking to here. If those two are good, it's controlling your club face and your club path, which dictates where that thing goes.
Yeah.
But if you're not hitting the centre, it's hard to know because you could literally just shank it and it goes out to
It
the
goes
right.
that
So
way.
it
Yeah.
is, as you see in golf, you know, very, very fine line between good and bad shots. But technique-wise, you're doing a great job. But we'll get you on the screen in a few minutes,
All
and
right.
I'll show the guys how good your swing is in slow mo. Good shot, good strike.
You know what I'm also looking at all of the time, really, is the curve.
Yeah.
Because I find with, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the curve of the ball, like I don't know that I'm ever hitting like a ball straight with no curve. I feel like it always has like 0.5 or 1 or 2 curve. So I don't know what that means, but I'm always looking at that just because like if it's going this way, then it's gonna have a larger curve than if it looks straight on the thing but has like a 2 curve.
Yeah. When you say
that-
2 curve, what do you mean by 2 curve? You're just grading on levels of how much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because if it's shaped, I don't know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, you got your creative brain. You probably see things a little bit differently to some of those. Yeah.
I'm seeing it in a way that, yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what controls the direction? Assuming you hit in the middle, which we'll get to.
Okay.
What things dictate where that ball goes? So there's 2 things in the golf swing. It's really these 2 at the bottom here. So you've got your club face and your club path. So your club face, where that points at impact, is pretty much where that ball's going to start. It has about an 80% influence on that. So on that shot there, for example, your club face was 2.9 degrees, so 3 degrees open to your club path, which was very, very neutral there. So positive means to the right, so your club face is aiming slightly to the right. And so you can see with just such a slight open club face, you're talking 3 degrees there. This is how hard golf is, as everyone watching this will understand. That's missed by 13 meters to the right, just by that fraction of a few degrees. And that's where hitting a straight shot is very, very difficult. It's almost a miracle when we hit a straight shot because it's got to be 0, 0, 0, and out the middle for it to go straight. So I'm a big advocate of actually, like you say, they've been able to understand how to curve the ball, but to have, when you're hitting a shot, have the intention, curve it one way or the other so you can have an idea of where it might be going roughly.
Yeah, okay. Rather than trying to zero out these numbers here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's good to calibrate and get a bit of a baseline, but then we shift things slightly depending on, like you say, the pin or the wind. And these are the skills that I think because your technique's really solid, 10 minutes in, it's crazy. But your skills, these are the things I think you can really start to develop.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in dance and like...
Yeah. Over time, just practice, repetition.
Just over time, yeah.
Okay.
So you've been doing that since you was 6, I guess, dancing-wise. And talking about skills, like, I mean, I'd love to be able to dance like Ilario, but he's been doing that for so many years. But watching Ilario when he's on stage the other night, me and my partner went to watch Ilario and as MJ at the musical. It was just incredible, and it almost, to me, it brought back just memories of being a kid again. Like I was saying earlier on when he came in, I used to dance on my front garden as a kid with my golf club. Like, Billie Jean and all the things on the garden. My friends would come around in our sort of estate where we grew up and watch me, and I just used to love it. And then somehow life sort of, as you get older, it sort of beats out a little bit of the creativity of you, and life just, you know how it can be. But coming back and seeing you and then meeting you and then watching the show, it's made me feel like I'm a kid again. And then showing my son, I was just saying to Ilario at the start, showing my son Ilario on screen dancing, and it's like, my son's dancing to it, and yourself again.
Yeah.
Good strike. Good shot. And then you might look at, I don't know, some golfers and think, I've been doing it since I was 13, I'm 40, coming up to 42, I've been doing that for 27 years or something. So to me, shaping the ball is very easy, hitting different spots on the face is very easy.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for as long as longer than you've been dancing.
Longer than I've been dancing.
So, but the beautiful thing is, we'll go one more and then we'll get you swing on screen, but like, you've got that athleticism, you've got the body awareness through your dancing, and it's clearly translated to your golf.
Yes.
You've obviously had some good coaching, and you basically just copied and done what someone's told you to do something. I guess like choreography, right? Do you
Yeah,
watch
exactly.
Do you watch people and then you just copy it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and then I get in front of a mirror oftentimes, and just try to figure out like, oh, now I need my toe to be in this different position. I need my body to lean in a certain way. I need my hand to be up, or, you know, it's just those fine things that, and it is watching Michael, like, to the detail, repeat on repeat on repeat, like doing it over, doing it over and over and over again until I can just go boom, and it's just in my body, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even have to think about it.
Love it. Love that. Love that. And that's like what we've done as golfers. We've looked in our positions and our swing in the mirror. Boom, boom, boom. Same point every time. Boom, what? Just making those corrections. And I used to do that with Tiger Woods, try and copy all his positions.
Really?
Yeah, I used to have his book. It's called How I Play Golf. And we didn't have sort of all the videos and stuff we have now when I was a kid. So it was all laid out there, frame by frame, photos of his swing. And I used to be there trying to copy every part of his swing. So what you're doing for Michael Jackson, I was doing the equivalent for Tiger Woods.
Wow,
And
that is crazy.
I wasn't quite getting into his positions, but well, I was trying.
Yeah, Tiger was he was an artist, man. He was crazy. I don't know how he did the shots, how he took those shots. That was crazy.
All right, Ilario, you've had a good warm up. So what we're going to do is get your swing on video.
Yeah.
Just have a little look at your technique, get you on some of the 3D stuff.
Okay.
Just check how good you're moving and see where there's any opportunities there.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to look a lot at some skill work today.
Okay.
But let's get you up on the
Let's
screen.
do it.
Before we go, so you can teach me a move.
Definitely. I'll definitely teach you one.
Can teach
When you
you.
turn and point the toe, yeah, I'll get you to do a pose here like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I got you.
The first thing to know, actually, some good ball striking in here. So obviously, where you're hitting it is crucial. Number one. So this is pretty darn good. You're also hitting down really nicely on the golf ball. You're hitting down 5 degrees, 4 or 5 degrees, which is great for an iron. So we're getting that low point of the swing after the ball.
Yeah.
Incidentally, for your driver, just for actually hitting down 7 degrees, if you recall.
Wow.
Do you
Yes,
remember
I do remember
4
that.
weeks ago when you came in.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
I do remember that.
So, you know, we want to be hitting a bit more up on the driver. We
Right.
made some lovely changes on that, which was great. And then I think then we'll head outside a bit later on, get you doing some strike work, looking at your ball flight.
Yeah.
But I just want to show you your swing on here in slow mo because there's so many good things. And here's your strike, just for context on that one. Yeah, pretty good through here. But how hard golf is, like the skill of this, moving that club head here or here or here. You're talking like millimeters. And that's that fine skill that you've obviously got with your dancing that now's a great opportunity to just, I see the biggest opportunity in your game is more skill training, more sort of performance type ideas.
Yes.
You know, if you want to lower those scores, short game, all that sort of stuff. Because I know how good your technique is for someone that's been playing 10 months. You can always refine that, like obviously you do with your dancing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, technique wise, we'll show you through it. We'll go through it again. So, listen to what's on. Let me just turn that up for the viewers. That was not planned.
That's crazy.
This is just on a random mix. I could say.
I heard it. I was like, oh, that's Michael Jackson.
That was definitely not planned.
That's
No,
crazy.
this is a random mix. Love it.
That's crazy.
And what I like at Impact is how you get your hips nice and open. This is great.
I remember we talked about that last time.
The average tour player, you're looking at about 35-ish in terms of hips being open at Impact. You're around 36 there, which is great.
Wow.
So you're pretty much on that. Let's focus on some skill stuff.
For Michael Jackson, when I'm doing it, Rich and Tone Talawega would turn our AC off in the rehearsal studio. So the rehearsal studio would be maybe, I don't know, from the mat to the camera, just about this wide, and they turn the AC off. Rich and Tone Talawega are Michael Jackson's choreographers and dancers, danced with him in the History Tour. And so as we were training, as I was training, there was no air conditioning. There really was no water breaks or anything of that nature. We had to train like we were going to be on stage dancing like Michael Jackson.
Just to bring you that resilience and
And just because we wanted to push it to the limit so that way when we got on stage, we knew what it was and we didn't have to think about it at full capacity,
Yeah.
It starts in the rehearsal room. So what you see on stage, I had to perform like that in the rehearsal room with no audience, just me in the mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before being able to get out and make people smile and happy. So
it's awesome.
crazy.
There's so many resemblances there for golf as well, because when guys are wanting to perform out there in real, like we do our indoor simulator, you're on the practice range, but there's no real consequences, no pressure, it's perfect conditions, it's flat lies, there's no pressure, and then people wonder why when they get out on the first tee they're panicking and they shank it and it's out of bounds, it's in the water, and nothing's changed, the swing hasn't changed, it's just you haven't practiced in those environments to get you used to it, which is what you're talking to there.
Exactly.
Which is why we try and, in practice, add pressure to your practice if you can. And the whole reason this came out just now is it was raining quite a lot a second ago, and I was saying, well, when I was growing up in England, we had to just practice in that because otherwise you'd never play. But then when it does rain, you're better prepared for it. And so when you're in tournaments, exactly. Yeah, amazing. Love that. Love it. All right, I think we've got a break in the rain.
All right, perfect.
Let's test your skills.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. So I'm going to put some lines. So guys, what we're going to do to start with, as you saw, Ilario swings on a good plane, lots of good stuff with the swing. We're going to start to build some skills. So skill number 1 is strike. And we're going to do it wrong to get it right. One of my absolute favourites. I'm going to test him first, just see where he's at. He doesn't know what's coming here, but we're going to chuck it in there. And so I'm going to create 5 little segments here, just so you guys can see on the camera. Extreme toe, centre, slight heel, extreme heel. And I'm going to ask Ilario from a normal setup to hit a certain spot on there and see what he can get out of 5. So this is non-technical, obviously, just swinging his swing, but see how many out of 5 you can get.
That's crazy.
So what I like to do here, we'll start off on the mats, because when you're working on strike, you're not worrying so much about ground contact.
Yep.
So, and when we're doing this, Laurie, these are going to go all over the place. So, because if you're trying to hit the toe, like it could go, what we might do, we might aim towards that tree sort of down the left-hand side there, just left of the Perth buildings.
Okay.
And so if you do shank one a bit, it's only going to go a bit to the right type of thing. So, yes. So, all right, Ilario, so we're going to start off maybe aiming just to the edge of those cones perhaps, because I'm going to give you a purposeful bad one here.
Yep.
So,
all right.
All right, so first one, can you hit the extreme toe, right out the toe side here?
Right at the toe side.
Right out the toe.
Okay.
From a normal setup though, you can't change your setup. Yep.
Okay.
So you got to do it in your swing. Use those skills.
All right.
Use that footwork. There we go. Flush.
That's what I wanted. Oh no. Danny, I just did it. I just did it. Damn it. Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Oh no. Oh no.
It's all right, all good.
I didn't rev the bike. I didn't rev the bike. You want to point this toe here, like this. There you go. Straight out. Yep. A little
calf cramp.